My name is Rhonda, and in this video, I'm going to go over 10 red flags that you should pay attention to when you're dating. And in this video, I'm going to point out the red flags for you to watch while you're dating so that you can make sure that you're safe and that you learn to trust your intuition. And based on my experience with dating a narcissist, I'm going to share the red flags that I learned and the results of letting down my boundaries and ignoring my intuition. The first red flag is simply the online dating sites. When you go into an online dating site, you have to remember you don't know this person and they don't know you. And what I found out is when I started chatting with these people online, these guys online, sometimes it would be that they would try to contact me every single day after that initial conversation. And I don't think that's normal. I think that a relationship should gradually build up. And maybe it's because of the perception of the online dating. And I know not only men, but women who use dating sites as hookup sites. So if that's what you're interested in, there's a great resource. There's a lot of different dating sites that do that. But if you're looking for something more like having company and doing things that you have in common with each other, then it needs to be approached in a different way and it needs to go a little bit slower. We don't have the security that we used to have 20, 30, 40 years ago, where when you met someone, it was either a friend of a friend of a friend, but somebody knew this person. And so you were able to ask questions and find out and get recommendations based on these other people's opinions. When we're looking at people and dating online, uh, chances are you don't know the person. They could be anywhere. They could give you a fake name. They could do anything like that. So one of the red flags is watch out for the online dating. The second red flag is if someone is trying to pry you for more information about yourself, especially if they're constantly getting a hold of you and texting you morning, night. That's what happened to me. And they're constantly prying you for information. But I recommend to pull back on that and not share a lot of your personal information. Because what happened to me is that by oversharing my information, a few people were able to use that against me. And the third reason is to be careful if another person is hesitant about meeting you in person, because that's just a huge red flag. Like I said, there are people out there who don't give their real names. They don't look like their profile pictures. They'll ask for your phone number so that they can text you. I had one guy ask me, it was kind of blew me away, but he had asked me if I wanted to go for a walk, on a hiking trail in the mountains at dusk. And I thought, that sounds like a horror story, waiting to happen. I don't know what this guy was thinking or if it worked for other people. I don't know. But if you're in the initial stages of contacting someone and meeting them, if they hesitate about meeting in person, that's a big, huge red flag. And the next red flag is watching for inconsistency and word salad. Word salad is when someone says just a whole bunch of random information that really doesn't go together or make any sense, and they're just trying to bullshit you is what they're trying to do. But people will always tell you who they are if you're listening. And the fifth red flag is that they don't wanna meet your friends or they don't wanna be seen in public with you. There's usually a reason why they don't want to do that. I had, a guy that I was dating, and we went to a dinner with another couple, a friend of mine, and it was really uncomfortable. It was like sitting in a banker's office. It was really, really, really uncomfortable. And still, even with that, I ignored those signs. And what I have to say about meeting friends, because friends hopefully would give you honest feedback about this other person. When I was dating this guy, there were some of my friends that liked him. My mom liked him, and then there was this couple that we had gone to dinner, and later on, after I found out what this guy was all about, this friend told me, "Well, we kind of sensed something was really weird and really off with this guy, but we didn't say anything because we didn't want to make you mad." And I said, "Oh my gosh." I said, you need to tell me these things." And they said, "Well, we tried that once and now we don't see that person anymore. because she got really offended. But I'm still going back on, have your friends be honest, because sometimes friends will just you try to appease you. Oh yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. When deep down they know that he's not good for you. And red flag number 6 is triangulation. And that means when the person that you're dating tries to make you jealous by either making a pass at your friend or looking at other women. Not only is it disrespectful, it's done intentionally to make you jealous. There's a lot of people that works with. I had that happen to me and it was very frustrating, but I was deep enough into a relationship that I wasn't sure who to trust, the guy I was dating or the friend of a friend who told me that he had hit on her and made a pass at her. So when it comes to triangulation, if you're in a relationship and someone's trying to make you jealous by bringing someone else in, chances are they're also going to try to isolate you from your friends. And red flag number 7 is ghosting. If you have ever been ghosted, and that means that somebody just disappears off of the face of the earth and they're not in contact with you again, that's a big red flag that you shouldn't take them back, because some people narcissists especially, will try to hoover you back into the relationship. And so I would really cautious, like watching everything, and having sex is certainly your choice. But from my experiences and then talking to other people, once again, men think about sex every 7 seconds. Women, I don't know. I'm 59, so it's not every 7 seconds. But there are certain people who will use you. And so nowadays, I guess it's okay for people to be ghosted. It happens all the time, but it really messes with your head because the brain is not meant to be able to process that information. And under no circumstances should you ever take that person back. And that's also part of, trusting your boundaries, your intuition, and your synchronicity, because 100% of the time you're getting messages about this person and you could have most likely prevented this ghosting. And the number 8 red flag is when they break up with you and hoover you back, which means that they try to get you back. I dated a guy for about 2 years and he disappeared. He ghosted on me. And about a year later, he tried to get a hold of me again and reconnect the situation. And it was a disastrous relationship. I did a video on that dating experience that I had, and I'll put the link in the description below. But it was a disaster, and I ended up being a total mess. And once again, I didn't listen to my intuition, and it got me into a really bad situation. But I did figure out not to go back to him. I didn't even acknowledge that he even existed. But that's one thing that people will try to do. Maybe they're going from one person to the other. People who are very narcissistic will intentionally do that over and over and over again. And so the number 9 red flag is when your body is screaming at you that something's wrong. Or your intuition. You have to be in tune with your intuition to be able to pick up on this stuff. And I was very in tune with my intuition, but I had such a bad case of gaslighting that I was so confused and I was so crazy. But you need to catch that at the beginning and trust your intuition, because our minds and our bodies are trying to tell us things. Our bodies will tell us a lot more than our minds, because that intuition is that little signal or that little response that we get. It can be different for everybody in different ways that communicates with us. And the intuition is there because when something happens and we don't pay attention to that intuition, that thought or whatever it is, that feeling will go up to our heads, and then our minds will start rationalizing it and making it logical and talk us out of something. And sometimes it's the opposite of what our intuition tells us to do. So it's very, very, very important that you pay attention and you trust yourself when you're out there in the dating world. That can be very, very dangerous. Fun, but dangerous. The 10th red flag is that you feel like you're going crazy. And at this point, there you might be far enough into a relationship that you don't trust yourself, you don't trust friends, you've been isolated, and you're not engaged with society and the community, and you're all caught up in your head because of the mess that they made in your head that this person that was dating you. And they could be very, very, very good about it. They are people who have narcissistic personalities are very good at manipulating and planning, and any personal information that that you tell them, they will use against you, or they will use it in some way to manipulate you. And one of the things that I found out about the guy that I had been dating is that I really wasn't going crazy, and he was the person that my body was telling me that it was. And like I said, once again, there's a full story of that in a different video, but I am bound and determined to never let that happen to me again. And as I reviewed those 10 red flags, one of the biggest things, the pieces of advice that I have is to pay attention to your boundaries, get really strong boundaries so that you feel safe in everything that you do, and to trust your intuition, because that's the only thing that's going to be really honest and give you an honest answer, and to follow those signs of synchronicity. That synchronicity doesn't always mean that there's these wonderful things. Synchronicity will put roadblocks in your life constantly, and if you don't catch those roadblocks, you'll just plow through them and keep on going. So if you've learned anything from this video, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.